Hello, eighth grade remote English students. We are back with Romeo and Juliet, and now we're on Act 1, Scene 5. So, this is the party scene at the Capulet Mansion, the Capulet Masquerade Ball. So, I want to do a little reviewing first because that's what we should always do because this is a confusing story. So, I'm going to stop going over the prologue because you know it by now. There's a feud, two families, they fall in love and they kill themselves. So let's start with Act 1, Scene 1. So there's a fight in the streets. The prince sentences both families to death if they fight again. We meet Romeo, who is very heartbroken because he cannot be with Rosaline, his love. Scene 2, Paris asks Capulet or Juliet's dad for Juliet's hand in marriage. He tells him to wait. Capulet invites him to a party at his mansion that the Montagues are not invited to because they are sworn enemies. Romeo and Benvolio happen to see a servant that needs help reading the guest list. They decide to crash the party to go see Rosaline. Lady Capulet, this is scene 3 now. Lady Capulet and the nurse ask Juliet if she wants to marry Paris. She's not super interested in him. We meet the nurse. She's embarrassing and kind of funny. The party starts, and they tell Juliet, please look at Paris to see if you could like him and see if you could marry him. Scene 4, which we just read, was Mercutio, Benvolio, and Romeo and some other friends walking to the party. We meet Mercutio for the first time. He is a jokester. He makes fun of Romeo for being in love and heartbroken. He does his famous Queen Mab speech, and they arrive at the party. So now we're going to start. So this is Act 1, Scene 5. I did just try to make a video where I put this in present mode, and it made the whole video mess up. So I apologize, but this is how we're going to have to do this. I hope it works for everyone. So at this party, this is Sunday evening. It's at the Capulet Mansion, and as you can see, the people in this picture are wearing masks because this is a masquerade ball, and this works to the Montagues' advantage because they are not supposed to be at this party. So the fact that they can wear masks is really helpful for them because they're not going to be identified at this party. So the people in this scene are Romeo, Juliet, Capulet, Juliet's father. The nurse is in it, Tybalt Capulet, which is Juliet's cousin, serving man, Benvolio, Mercutio's there, but we don't really hear from him. So we're gonna get started, and this is the party scene, and the lovers are gonna meet in this scene. So we'll see how it goes. So Lord Capulet is greeting his guests at the party, and Romeo, Benvolio, and Mercutio they enter. So you can see everyone's wearing masks. They cannot tell who they are. So Capulet is welcoming everyone, and he's trying to get the party started. So he is trying to get people to dance. So this is what he says: "Welcome, gentlemen, ladies that have their toes will not deny to dance. Let me see. I have seen the day that I have worn a mask and could tell a whispering tale in a fair lady's ear and please her. 'Tis gone, 'tis gone, 'tis gone. You are welcome, gentlemen. Come, musicians, play." So in the real play, he says to all the ladies, um, "Dance if you don't have warts on your feet." So all the women, are like, "I don't want anyone to think that I have warts on my feet, so I'm gonna dance." So this is his weird way of getting people to dance. So he's getting trying to get this party started. He's saying, "Musicians play, people dance. Let's get started here at this party." Music plays and the guests dance. So there's a party going on. So Romeo looks across the room, and who does he see but Juliet? He does not even think of Rosaline at this party. He sees Juliet and he is like immediately in love. So we're going to see what happens. Romeo says to a serving man, "What lady is that which doth enrich the hand of yonder knight?" So he says, "Who's dancing with that man over there?" So he looks over, he sees Juliet dancing with this man, and he's like, "Who is she?" The serving man says, "I know not, sir." So he doesn't know. Romeo is looking at Juliet from across the room. Goodbye, Rosaline. Remember, Rosaline is at this party, but he's not even looking at her. He sees Juliet and he just totally forgets about her. So Romeo says, Oh, she doth teach the torches to turn bright, to burn bright, excuse me. This means her beauty shines brighter than the torches. So he's like, "Oh my God, she's so beautiful. She makes the torches burn bright." Her beauty is as a jewel in the night. She is as a snowy dove among crows. When this song ends, to her I'll go. Did my heart love till now? Forswear its sight, for I ne'er saw true beauty till this night. So he says, did my heart love till now? My eyes were lying, for I never saw true beauty till this night. So this dude who was just complaining about how sad he was about Rosaline immediately forgets about Rosaline when he gets to this party and immediately falls in love with none other than Juliet. So obviously, his love for Rosaline wasn't real. Not real for Juliet either. He just likes the way she looks. So during this moment, when he is looking over at Juliet, he takes his mask off for a second to look over at her. So, none other than Tybalt. This is our villain. This is Juliet's cousin. He sees this. Romeo lifts his mask up for 1 second to look at Juliet across the room. And Tybalt, Juliet's cousin, the villain, sees this happen and recognizes Romeo. So, this is not good. Tybalt says, "By his voice this should be a Montague," he says to his page or servant. "Fetch me my rapier, boy. This is a dueling sword." What, this slave dares come hither covered with a comical mask to jeer at our solemnity? Now, by the stock and honor of my kin, to strike him dead I hold it not a sin. So Tybalt sees Romeo, sees that he's there, and is like, I can't believe this guy came. I am going to fight him, and grabs his sword. Capulet, who is running the party, Juliet's dad, he is the host of the party. He does not want a fight here. So he says to Tybalt, he catches him before Tybalt goes and fights Romeo. He says, "Why, how now, kinsman? Wherefore storm you so?" He said, "Why are you running around like that? What's wrong?" Tybalt says, "Uncle, this is a Montague, our enemy, our foe, a villain that is hither come in spite to scorn at our solemnity this night. He says, Romeo is here, and I'm going to fight him." Capulet says, "Young Romeo, is it?" He says, "It's Romeo? He's here?" Tybalt says, "'Tis he, that villain Romeo." So he's like, "Yep, he's here, that villain Romeo." Capulet says, "Calm thyself, gentle nephew. Let him alone. He is an honorable gentleman, and to say truth, Verona brags of him to be a virtuous and a well-mannered youth. I would not for the wealth of all the town here in my house do him insult. Therefore be patient, take no note of him. It is my will. If thou respect me, put off your frown. 'Tis not fitting for a feast." So Capulet says, "No, no, you're not going to fight him at my party. You're going to sit still and you're going to be patient. He's a good man. People say he's a good guy. Um, you will not mess up my party and you will not cause a fight at my party. So do not approach him. Do not go over to him." Remember, Capulet just got in trouble with the prince, so he's trying to save his own butt. He doesn't want to be killed by the prince. So he's trying to like keep it calm. Yes, there's still a feud, but he's not going to have a fight at a big party. Tybalt says, "It fits when such a villain is a guest. I'll not endure him." He says, "No, I'm going to go fight him." Capulet answers, "He shall be endured." "What, boy?" I say, "He shall. Good God. Am I the master here, or you? You'll not endure him. God mend my soul. You'll make a riot among my guests. You will create chaos." He says, "Absolutely, you will endure him. You will not fight him. Listen to me, or else." So there's a meme over here. You seem to be forgetting who's the boss here. Capulet's in charge. This is his house. Tybalt has to listen to him. Tybalt says, "Why, uncle, 'tis a shame." He says, "Why? I want to fight him." Capulet, go to, you are a saucy boy, you're insubordinate, you're not listening to me. Is it so indeed? This nonsense shall come back to scathe you, to burn you. I know this. For shame, cheerly, my hearts." So he dismisses him. He says, "Nope, you will not fight him. I will not tolerate this at my party. You will not wreck my party." So the music starts again, and the guests are dancing again. Things calm down a little bit. Tybalt says to himself, Forcing patience on my anger makes me tremble. I will withdraw, but this intrusion shall, though it now seems sweet, shall turn bitter. So he says, fine, I won't fight him right now, but later I'm going to get him. So Tybalt leaves, and he's very angry because he cannot fight Romeo like he wants to. So we know Tybalt's going to come back later and come after Romeo. All right. So here's the big scene where they meet for the first time. So Romeo makes his way over to Juliet, and this is very odd, but he does not even say hello and introduce himself. Instead, here's what he says. He takes her hand and he looks at her and he says, if I profane with my unworthiest hand this holy shrine, the gentle sin is this, my lips, two blushing pilgrims, ready to stand to smooth that rough touch with a tender kiss. He does not even introduce himself. He doesn't even say hi. He doesn't say, hi, I'm Romeo. He just says, hey, I'm going to kiss you. He doesn't even say, hey. He's like, can I kiss you? That's pretty much how he meets her. He's like, let me kiss you. So let's go over here. So we've got some notes. He says desecrate or profane. So I just want to kiss you. Um, he talks about her hands, which are a place of worship. And pilgrims are people who travel to religious sites to get closer to God. So basically, he uses some religious words to say, let me kiss you, like right now. Didn't even introduce himself. Juliet says, good pilgrim, you do wrong your hand too much, which mannerly devotion shows in this. For saints have hands that pilgrims' hands do touch, and palm to palm is holy palmer's kiss. So she says, no, I'm not going to let you kiss me right away, but we can touch hands like this. And it's like praying. It's like a holy palmer's kiss. So she says, no, let's touch hands instead. Here's a little translation, you're too hard on your hands. I can tell they're devout and honorable, but by how you're holding mine. So she's like, let's touch hands instead. She says, shaking hands is how pilgrims kiss. So Romeo doesn't take no for an answer. He wants to kiss her. She's like, let's touch hands instead. Romeo says, have not saints lips and holy palmers too? She says, don't saints and pilgrims have lips too? He's still pushing kissing her. He's hinting at kissing her. Juliet says, I, pilgrim, lips that they must use in prayer. Romeo answers, oh, then, dear saint, let lips do what hands do. They pray, grant thou, lest faith turn in despair. So this means hands pressed together in prayer. Let our lips also press together. Grant my prayer that I can kiss you, or I'll lose faith and go to hell. So he keeps pushing her. This is kind of creepy if you think about it. By the way, Juliet is 13, 14. Romeo is like 17, 18. So now this would be like totally illegal and not okay. But back then it was okay. Remember that they are of different families that hate each other. So he is like forcing himself on her right now, wanting kind of forcing her to kiss him, like not taking no for an answer. This is the first time they met. Juliet says, saints do not move, though grant for prayer's sake. So she's like, no, like we really shouldn't. Romeo says, then move not, while my prayer's effect I take. He kisses her. So he kisses her anyway. She says no like 3 times. And he's like, nope, gonna do it anyway. I already read that. Then move not, while my prayer's effect I take. Kisses her. Thus from my lips, by thine, my sin is purged. So he's like, I am kissing you, even though you didn't want me to. So he's like, I grant my own prayer. Your lips have taken my sin away. Kissing is a religious sacrament. So he kisses her even without her permission. Then have my lips the sin that they have took. She's like, oh, well, I guess you did it anyway. Romeo says, sin from thy lips, O trespass sweetly urge, give me my sin again. Now he kisses her again. So this is like, just like, think about this. You just meet someone. They don't even introduce themselves yet. They don't even know who each other are yet. They don't know that they're not supposed to be together. And they've already kissed twice. They haven't even introduced themselves yet. It's very inappropriate. You don't meet someone and then kiss them twice, like 2 minutes later. That's crazy. Juliet says, you kiss by the book. Like, you're a good kisser. The nurse comes along as they're kissing, and she says, "Madam, your mother craves a word with you. So your mom wants to see you." Juliet then leaves. Romeo says, "Who's her mother?" So this is the moment of like, uh-oh, like I'm finding out who this woman is. The nurse answers, "Mary Bachelor. Her mother is the lady of the house, and a good lady, and a wise and virtuous." Virtuous means full of virtue. "I nursed her daughter that you talked withal. I tell you, he that can lay hold of her shall have the chinks." So this means she Juliet's very rich, and that if whoever gets to marry Juliet is going to be very rich. So she tells him that she is a Capulet and that she's the one that nursed her, and she is of the house of Capulet. So Romeo's like, "Oh no," because this is his enemy. Remember. Romeo says to the nurse, "Is she a Capulet? Oh, dear account, my life is my foe's debt." So he realizes that she is a Capulet, and he says his heart and life belong to Juliet now, so his enemies own him, basically. He is upset because he has realized that the love of his life that he just met 2 seconds ago is a Capulet, and they're not supposed to be together. At this very moment, Benvolio enters, and Benvolio is like saying, "We gotta go. The fun is at its peak. We're done." To Romeo, "Away be gone. The sport is at its best. We're leaving the party." Romeo says, "Ay, so I fear. The more is my unrest." This means Romeo's agreeing that the most fun part of the party is already past, and it's all downhill from here because the moment with Juliet has passed, and he's afraid he'll never see her again. So the guys leave, and as they leave, Capulet says, "I thank you, honest gentlemen. Good night. More torches here. Come on, then. Let's to bed. Ah, sirrah, it is late. I'll to my rest." So he is closing down the party, saying goodbye to the guests. Across the ballroom. So meanwhile, Juliet's on the other side of the ballroom. She was just talking to her mother. She goes to the nurse and she says, "Come hither, nurse. Come here, nurse. What is yon gentleman?" She's trying to figure out who Romeo is. She points to someone. The nurse thinks it's the wrong person. "The son and heir of old Tiberio," someone else. Juliet says, "What's he that now is going out of door?" Nurse says, "Marry that. I think the young Petruchio." This is another dude that is just walking out. Juliet says, "What's he that follows here that would not dance?" The nurse says, "I know not." Juliet says, "Go ask his name." The nurse leaves. "If he be married, my grave is likely to be my wedding bed." So she's gonna have the nurse go ask what Romeo's name is, and she says, "I'll die if I can't marry him." The nurse says, "His name is Romeo and a Montague, the only son of your great enemy." So the nurse finds out that it's Romeo and he's a Montague, and that this is her enemy. Juliet now realizes that this is her enemy and she cannot be with him. So she is very upset. She says, "My only love sprung from my only hate. I saw him too soon and knew who he was too late. Monstrous first love it is for me that I must love a loathed enemy." So she's very upset that she loves an enemy of hers. And she's like just totally overwhelmed by this. The nurse says, "What's this? What's this?" Juliet says, "A rhyme I learned just now from one I danced with." So she basically says, the nurse is like, "What are you saying? Like, wait, what? You love him?" She just plays it off and says, "Oh, nothing. It's just a song that I was singing." So now Juliet is called from within the house. I'm guessing it's Lady Capulet. And the nurse says, "Anon, anon, we're coming, we're coming. Come, let's away. The strangers are all gone." And they all exit. So that is the end of Act One. You guys did such an amazing job with this. I'm really excited about this. So I'm going to do our notes now. So please go to your notes doc and take the following notes with me. So the party happens, and Tybalt spots Romeo and wants to fight him. I will start from here. The party happens, and Romeo and Juliet meet, kiss right away, and fall in love. Um, they do not introduce themselves to each other at first. That's important to know. Tybalt spots Romeo and wants to fight him. Capulet stops Tybalt from fighting him, and Tybalt says he's going to fight Romeo later. Um, then Romeo and Juliet find out who each other are and are devastated. Cool. So they've met. They have kissed already. Tybalt has gotten pretty upset and wants to fight Romeo now. And Romeo and Juliet have fallen in love. They've kissed and they have figured out who each other are, and they are devastated that they cannot be together. So that is the end of Act One. Pretty soon I'll be filming Act Two. Wonderful job so far. Please reach out with any questions, and great work. Thanks and have a good one. Bye.